Today, I'm going to be making as many slimes as I can from just one Amazon slime kit. Hit subscribe and let's get started. Okay, so I've had this Amazon slime kit lying around for quite some time now, and I thought it was finally time to put it to the test. This kit basically just comes with a ton of different add-ins in this giant bag, which I'm so excited to root through and see what we can use, along with some jelly cubes, which are very nicely pre-cut for you, and then the clear slime. Now, originally, I wasn't going to make this video, and I was just going to test this kit out, but then when I saw the 6 different containers, I thought, why don't I try and make 6 different slimes from just this one kit? And with all of the different add-ins it came with, it should be pretty doable. Now, the clear slime was just in this plastic bag and then in this plastic container, and without even opening it, I could see that this actually really was pretty crystal clear. So I was just hoping that it wasn't a bad texture and we wouldn't have to fix that before we started making the slimes. The first thing I noticed was that it was incredibly thick, like super thick, and it kind of came away from the container almost a bit more like putty, and not like rippable hard putty, but more like the Crazy Aaron's type, if you know. My initial reaction to the texture was, again, this is super thick, but it really did feel like a mix of slime and putty, almost like there's some kind of silicone in there or just some type of thickening agent. Not only was this super crystal clear like it says, but it was actually really stretchy too. I actually got it out of the container, but I was trying to not play with it too much because I didn't want to put too many air bubbles in it, but I just could not resist squeezing it like this. It was so satisfying, and you can kind of see in these videos just how thick it was because it really holds its shape when you squeeze it. Now, I kind of did just want to keep this as one slime, but of course I want to challenge myself to see all of the different slimes I can make, so I put it back into the container and got the smaller containers out. So I'm going to try and make 6 different variations of slimes. Now, obviously for the first one, the first step is actually putting some slime in the container, and I definitely think I'll have enough clear slime for all of these, and it was now time to open up the giant bag of slime supplies. Now, to be honest, I kind of underestimated how much stuff was actually in here. I think because it was so tightly packed, I didn't realize that there was actually a ton of different things. There was a little bag of charms, a few different bags of bingsu beads, some other add-ins like foam beads and clay bags, and it was definitely starting to spark my imagination with some of the slimes I want to make with these. My first kind of idea was to do a blue and purple slime, so I chose all of the blue and purple add-ins. I don't know why, but this color combination is just so pretty to me. So I went ahead and started to make the slime by pouring some of these purple and blue fishbowl beads straight into it. I honestly kind of just loved how they looked on top of the slime, but I did want to mix them in. But I made sure to do it very gently and almost rolled them in by the end of it, because the more air I put in it, the less clear it would be, and I was trying to make this as clear as possible still. To top the slime off, I used some of these bingsu beads almost as a bit of a glitter, but also to give the slime an additional crunch, and then decided to move on to the clay. Now, sometimes these little clay bags can actually look like they're fine, but they're completely dried out, so I was really hoping that these would be okay, and thankfully both of them were extremely stretchy. They both needed just a little bit of air squeezed out of it, so I did that to make the texture as smooth as possible for both of them, and then rolled them into balls ready to be made into something else. I placed the 2 of these together because I kind of want to marble the colors together, but not too much. I still want to be able to see the blue and purple, so I'm definitely not fully mixing these together, and then I rolled them out into kind of a long sausage. I really honestly wasn't sure where I was going with this. I was kind of just doing what I thought might look cool, so I rolled it up almost into this snail swirl, and this looked really good. I did think it was a little bit big next to the slime though, so I decided to squish it down. I wanted it to be flatter and thinner, but still have the spiral on it, and then use an empty container to use it almost as a cookie cutter to get this perfect little swirled disc of clay. I actually really loved how this came out. I'm not sure what it is or what it looks like, but I know it looks pretty, and placed on top of the slime, it looked so cute. Now, I did say to myself I wasn't going to add anything that wasn't in the kit, but none of the charms really went with it, and this blue gummy bear was just lying around, so it was too perfect not to use. And this is our first slime completed, and I'm actually very happy with it. But we are not stopping there, and we have 5 more slimes to make, so I got a fresh container out and filled it up again with some clear slime. For this one, I was feeling kind of an orangey yellow theme, so I chose all of the yellow and orange add-ins. The first thing I wanted to do was mix some of these yellow foam beads into the base of the slime, again being very careful not to put too much air into it, and again kind of just rolling everything into the slime. In fact, this kind of looked a bit like a snow globe. Now that was all combined, I placed it into the container and moved on to the orange bingsu beads. Again, I'm kind of using this as glitter, but it will add a nice texture to it. Luckily, there was a yellow colored clay, so of course I had to use it on this slime, and I crushed all of the air out of it again to get it nice and smooth, before then trying to use my crafting skills and make tiny little lemons with the clay. I'm warning you now that these don't actually really look like lemons that much. I mean, they kind of do from a distance, right? They're just not super detailed, obviously, because they're so tiny. I placed them onto the top of the slime, but I almost needed something to finish them off. I used a little fake leaf that I had lying around and then just poked those into the edges of the lemons, and it definitely made them look a little bit more lemony. Now that was complete, it was time to move on to the third slime, and I'm sure you're probably already getting the hang of how I'm going to do this just by placing some more clear slime into this container. If it's not obvious, the theme of this was pink, and this kit actually came with some pink glitter, which was nice, so I thought, why not make the clear slime super vibrant by pouring loads of that into it and just mixing it in. This type of glitter almost feels like plastic snow because it's so thick, so not only did it give it a really nice vibrant pink glittery shimmer, but it also kind of gave it a bit of a texture too, which was actually very fun to play with. Now that was done, I placed it back into the container, and it was now time for me to work on the next part of this slime, which was the clay. The kit came with this really cute shade of baby pink clay. Again, I just crushed all of the air out of it to make it nice and smooth, but I didn't want to just make a clay topper with this. I actually wanted to make something a bit more unique, so I rolled the clay out into a ball and pressed it flat with the palm of my hand, and then opened up the pink foam beads and poured them in the middle, because I'm trying to make almost like a pinata clay topper with this. So when it's squeezed, all of the beads will hopefully fall out, and it'll be a really satisfying texture to mix in. I thought the clay was looking just a little bit boring, so in an empty container, I poured some glitter in and then rolled the clay ball into it, and it almost made it like a sparkly glitter bomb that's gonna explode with foam beads. I found this pink donut charm in the kit and placed it on top, and the third slime was officially done. Now it was time to make the fourth slime. Of course, I'm just repeating the process, and this time I'm going for a red theme. To start with, I'm pressing the clear slime down and then pouring the pink bingsu beads into it. I know I said it was a red themed slime, but these are dark pink, so it kind of counts. And honestly, once it was mixed in, it was still definitely giving kind of red. I opened up the little bag of red clay and then found this strawberry mold I had. I pressed the clay into the mold and then just peeled it out, and using a pair of scissors, I just cut off all the excess clay around the edge of the strawberry. This strawberry looked pretty good, but it didn't have a green stem on it, so just using some of my own clay. And I know I said I wouldn't use anything not from the kit, but I kind of had to. I made some green leaves and a little stem to go on top. This to me almost looked a bit more like a chili pepper than a strawberry, and I think, to be honest, the clay's honestly probably just a little bit too red. But I placed it onto the slime with a little strawberry charm that the kit came with, and that was the fourth slime officially completed. Now for the fifth slime, I was kind of a little bit stuck on what I should do, because all of the clay from the kit had been used, and there were a ton of different ingredients, but they weren't really specific colors. So for this one, I decided to go with a kind of rainbow theme and use some of the fruit Fimo slices. There is something just so iconic about a clear slime with these fruit slices in. They just seem so nostalgic to me, because they were such a trend back in the day when I first started making slime. The next thing I wanted to add was some of the rainbow beads this kit came with. I actually only added a small amount because I didn't really want this to be a crunchy texture, and I mainly wanted them just for the look of it. I decided to use some of the leftover fruit charms from the kit to go into this, and I think they actually all worked really nicely together. It's kind of giving tropical soda. It was now time to make the final slime from this kit, and instead of using something brightly colored, the only thing I really had left were these brown chocolate chunks. So this was going to be kind of a chocolate themed slime, so I thought these orange bingsu beads looked a bit caramelly, I guess, so I mixed those in there too to just give it a little bit of a sparkle. I almost completely forgot that this kit came with some jelly cubes, so I mixed some of those into it. What I did find strange about these jelly cubes is that they didn't seem to be made of the usual material, and in fact the slime didn't really want to mix into them, but it looked okay, so I just topped it off with some more of the chocolate sprinkles and a little donut charm the kit came with. And finally, we had completed all 6 slimes from this kit, and I have to say I was really happy with how all of them turned out. They all looked so cute, and I even added a little straw to the lemon one to finish it off. Now a small part of me almost wanted to just leave these as they were because they looked so cute, but of course I did really want to play with them too. The first one we have is the blue gummy bear one, which was really satisfying to mix in. The fishbowl beads and the clay actually had a really surprisingly nice texture. The next one was our lemon one, which kind of looked like lemonade with the straw now, and this had a really satisfying texture with the clear slime, the clay, and then the foam beads. The one I was most excited for was this pinata one, which actually didn't really work. I feel like because the clay was so soft, the beads kind of just mixed into it rather than staying separate, so there was definitely no foam bead explosion, but it still had a really nice texture. The strawberry that looked a bit like a chili pepper looked so cute and was really fun to mix in. And by the end of it, this was definitely a red slime, not a pink one. I was also surprised at how nice the bingsu beads and clay felt together, and they made it super bubbly. The fruit kind of soda one looked really cute too. This one had a bit more of a basic texture, but I could definitely still appreciate it. And I just loved how you could see everything mixed into it because the slime was just so clear. And finally, we have our chocolate and caramel one. This one definitely isn't my favorite looks wise. I feel like the jelly cubes don't really look that great, but saying that, they did give it a really nice texture, so I am definitely glad I added them. Well, this was so much fun. I really enjoyed turning this slime into 6 different ones, and I can't believe how many different slimes we were able to make. If you want to get this kit, I've actually linked it in my Amazon storefront down below, so you can definitely check it out there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to hit subscribe. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.